curtain about to fall. We're gonna open your eyes so you can see who you're gonna call if you wanna be free. GLOBEBUSTERS! 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 Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Yeah! GLOBEBUSTERs! GLOBEBUSTERs! GLOBEBUSTERs!
And welcome everybody to GLOBEBUSTERS.
We accept the reality of with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
And welcome everybody to GLOBEBUSTERS. Sorry about the intro snafu there at the beginning. Little issues. I couldn't hear anything on my headphones, so I had to restart it. But we are having the show nonetheless. We are on to season 9, episode 24. And it is called, if we can find the thumbnail, Still Flat. In case you're wondering, in case you're tuning in because you're like, is it still? It is. It is still flat. Let's bring on the panel members. First, we got Zack. Good times from all. Zack, how's it going, my friend?
Hey, Jeran, doing great.
Excellent.
If you
Excellent.
didn't catch it, we had our GLOBEBUSTERS Tech Thursday night on the analemma, and I learned something I had no idea about. The moon analemma actually changes drastically.
You mean from a figure 8?
Yeah, it looks like a figure 8 sometimes, but it kind of morphs, and when you do it for a very long time, mark it up. I'll bring up one of the videos for you. It's just really bizarre. It looks like the moon is like tumbling almost, and the figure 8 really changes. Sometimes it looks like a circle, like an oblong, weird looking circle, but like an oval, but it doesn't look like the figure 8 at all. If it's true that this happens, I didn't verify it. It takes years to do that. But yeah, it was really interesting. Blew my mind, really.
Yeah, it's pretty insane too that the moon does what the sun does in a year, the moon does in a month.
Yeah.
But I also think it does go, at least as far as I've been able to tell, I think it does go beyond the tropics.
Yeah, I believe it's like 7 degrees.
Okay, it does go a little bit.
Something like that, beyond the tropics. So yeah, it's different than the sun.
Yeah.
I'm almost thinking that they're at different elevations, and maybe those elevations change. Like when I was thinking about it today, actually, when we did the measurements with the fiber optic gyro up on Pikes Peak and then down in the flatlands, there was that almost 2-degree variance. And it's just making me wonder, is the sun a little bit higher up, which makes it, a little bit faster than the moon? And that's why they're not at the same speed, possibly, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because I have seen the moon like straight above my head before. So straight north here at the 37 degree, but I would never see the sun there. The sun would never be above my head. It would always be south.
Same here in South Carolina. I believe we're at about 35.
Have you ever seen it north of you?
No, I've seen it like directly overhead. Because I've never seen that from Indiana up at like 41 degrees where I was. And this was like
there.
Way like directly overhead. And I was like, is that normal? What? Yeah, I had to go look up my latitude at that time. That's when I really checked it in this area. When I saw how high the moon was in the sky, it kind of freaked me out. I thought, I don't know, something was going wrong.
And then we also have Landucci from the land down under, over, across, or perpendicular sideways.
Yes, outside Antarctica, and I come back, and you never know what I am in the last couple of months. I'm still not, because I get back to Switzerland, but now I came back to Barcelona until Tuesday. So I'm here in Barcelona, my friend, mi amigo. ¿Cómo anda usted? ¿Todo tranquilo?
Todo tranquilo? Okay.
Oh, well, man, I just testing your Spanish.
Well, I could just repeat it. I don't know what you meant.
Schooling. You can repeat. Okay, that is a good practice.
Yeah. What did you say? What did you mean to say?
But after repeat it, check it, because.
Oh yeah, that's true. You could be telling me to say,
with the Spanish people.
Right. Don't want to screw me over like that.
Okay.
I wanted to know, did you guys see the video of? I'm trying to find it here. I've got it. of the girl that's talking about flat Earth. Kind of the reason for the lie. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It was on Facebook.
No.
Okay, I'm going to bring it up. We'll watch it to start, just because I think it's a good reminder about it being flat and why it's important. And she's well spoken, but so far I cannot find it. Oh, I know what you do. On Telegram, you go to search and then look at, what would that be? A link. Links. That will do it. Shared links. There we go. And which one is it? This one. There we go. So let me bring her up here, and we will watch this real quick, and we'll be back after we listen to her present. Let me put this over here. Oops.
When people finally...
Sorry, I'm going to bring this up so everyone can see. All right. Oh, that's kind of close. What's going on? Why is that over there? Well, that'll work for now. Here we go. If you haven't seen it, it's excellent. Have you seen this, Zach? You seen this girl?
I don't believe so.
Okay, good. Glad you guys haven't seen it. We'll check it out.
Either.
Yeah, let's check her out. See if you think what you think about it.
When people finally wake up to the truth that we do not live on a spinning ball, but rather a non-rotating level plane, and what is above, below and beyond, we still don't know. The first question they ask is, why the lie? Why the lie? So many people have said they believe the lie is because they don't want you to know who you really are, which we know that we are very powerful people. Our mind is very, very powerful. They want to keep resources from you. They want you to believe that unless we go and find other planets, we're going to run out of these resources. They want you to take you away from God, and so on and so forth. However, for me, I've come to the conclusion the biggest lie is because they want you to believe you live in a fictional world. Therefore, your fictional character, which is known as your straw man, will work in that world. So when we look at the word lawful and legal, there's a maxim of law that says he who creates it owns it. They've created a globe. You see, in the natural world, God's world, nature, I say God, whoever that is for you, it could be natural creation sorts, whoever, but I'm just using God as a reference. You can't patent what is organic. They cannot take away and manipulate what is organic. They can create from it, but they cannot change it. So they cannot change the non-rotating level plane. But they need you to believe in them and not God. They need you to believe in fiction and not reality. So therefore they've created a globe. And on this globe, they control your mind. And on this globe, they register you. You see, they've created corporations. They've created birth certificates. They've registered your birth certificate to these corporations. A corporation is a dead entity. It's fake. It doesn't exist, just like the globe. They've made you believe you are living on a spinning ball on this world that doesn't exist, and they call it a globe. And on the globe we have globalism, we have global warming, we have globalists. All of it doesn't exist. Global warming doesn't exist. It's all fake. You see, in this fake world, on this globe, we have digital currency. Doesn't exist. They create money from thin air. We have your straw man, which is there to become part of the commerce system, contract system, because you see, you as a person can't do business without your straw man. So they need to create a separate world, a legal world, where you can be your straw man. And in that world, they make you believe that you have to pay taxes. You have to give away your hard-earned money. In that world, they have taken away what God has naturally given you, which is dominion over the earth. They've taken away the land, air and water from you. And because you do not know where you live, you have given it to them. You have given up your right of dominion over what God naturally gave you. It's even in the Bible. And you have decided to live in a fictional world called the globe. And there, they own your mind. You see, in this fictional world, they register. Everything is registered, and you've registered your rights away. The rights that you were given from birth. You've registered your children away. You've registered your car away. They've taken away what is yours. And you are not ready to claim it back, because if you are not ready to realize that you have your own senses, your own eyes, your own feelings, which tell you we are not spinning. This is all a lie. Pull back the curtain and realize you live here and you own an equal share of the earth, and they've taken it away from you. In this fictional world, they create currency. They create birth certificates. They create contracts. They create your straw man. They create slavery. They've created slavery because you don't know who you are, because you don't even know where you live. Because he who creates it owns it. And if you truly believe you live on a spinning ball, then you are owned. You are owned because you've not centered yourself to your very own existence, that you are not spinning. Don't forget, in their world, you will own nothing and be happy. They're going to take everything away from you because they think they own you. Do you know why? Because they've made you sign everything over to them with their fake money, mortgages, fraudulent, globalism, fraudulent, global warming, fraudulent. It doesn't exist. None of it exists. When are you going to realize none of this exists? It's all man-made. What is natural is nature. That cannot be touched. We are so close to collectively waking up. And when people say, well, doesn't matter if the earth is flat or round, actually it's part of your spiritual awakening. Now here is something we should be concentrating on. As per God's law, until someone can bring the Creator into a court of law to provide first-hand testimony, which is cross-examinable, that one person has more authority than another, then logic and reason can only conclude we are all entitled to an equal benefit of the fruits of creation, and we are all equal under the law, and no one is above the law. When I say law, I mean small l, not man-made law. Each of us is gifted with our mind, with our own bodies and our conscience, to allow us to determine what is right from wrong. And hence, we can explore this reality as long as we do not cause harm, injury and loss. When you live in their fiction, in their legal world, you lose this. You lose this privilege to use your own mind and determine your own outcome. In the legal fiction, you are a slave. You are bound by legislation, acts and statutes. And you are told you're not allowed to drive on the roads unless you have register your car to a corporation and pay fines that you don't need for profit. Everything is for profit. In the legal world, even your birth certificate has created a for-profit person, which is you. They are making money on you in a world that does not exist, because nature is natural and no one can own it. But in the legal world, the fictional globe, they own you. That's why the globe is so important, because it doesn't exist. You don't exist in their world unless you want to, unless you choose to. When you are ready to wake up and come back to reality, when your parents, your mother or father used to say to you, you live in a fantasy world, come back to reality. Well, guess what? They created that fantasy world for you, and you are living in that world right now. And it is time for you to come back to reality and realize that you are not in their legal fiction. You are not a straw man. You are not a person. You are a living, breathing man or woman with the right to self-determination, and you need to grow up. You need to become an adult and start taking responsibility for your decisions. Because if you don't, you will own nothing and apparently be happy. This period of time is about ascending and disclosure. We are mentally and spiritually ascended, and we need to disclose the lies and corruption to then manifest a new future, a fair and just one, where people begin to build communities rather than societies. But to do that, the first rule of manifestation is to know thyself, know who you truly are, where you truly belong, and know where you truly are going. Now remember, your silence means you are consenting. If you say nothing, that means you are happy to live like this. I'm not. I am not happy to live like this. I want a fair world with no wars, with equal shares of what is originally ours, God-given. This is why I speak up, and this is why it's so important to drop the globe, drop the legal fiction. You are not your birth certificate, you are not the straw man, you are not a court. You are a living, breathing man and woman. Protect yourself, wake up, know where you are and who you are.
So I thought that was excellent. I think it's good for new people. I think it's good for old people. Yeah, she's just really well said.
Yeah, with the piano in the background, it's more powerful.
I think maybe Dave Weiss did that video. He like
Yeah, a little small hat magic definitely was used.
Daryl Davis says,
Yeah.
I will marry this woman.
David style.
Daryl Davis says, I would marry this woman. So, yeah, all I got to say about Dave is that when we were in Vegas, usually you'll see people who have like 20 cents left on their slot machine. They'll take like the little ticket and then hand it to somebody else playing the slots. Not David Weiss. He goes and cashes them in. 20 cents, 35 cents, 42 cents. Just point that out. I'm just saying. Not that it means anything. There's nothing. I'm not hinting at anything there.
I found a couple bucks laying on the ground. It looked like someone had pulled it out of their pocket. It was like $3. And I saw this old guy sitting. Man, you see those people sitting at the slot machines. It's just sad. It really is. Even when they win a little bit, they never smile.
No,
I was like,
miserable.
So I walked up. I was like, here you go, man. I just found this on the ground. Maybe you might win something with it. And he smiled. And I was like, all right, good. At least that made him smile. At first, he was like shocked, like, what? And then all of a sudden, he just got a smile on his face. And,
Oh, Run Boston Bear just proved me wrong. He says, Dave gave me his last 20-cent ticket. I can't believe it. But it could be. I don't know. I'm trying to look. Does anybody know her channel name? Because it was on Facebook, so it's not like I don't see her YouTube channel. Ben Cleary posted it. I don't see any. Wait. Laura Nina? Is that her name? No, wait. Lives in.
Someone said that she was in an interview. Oh, I forget who now.
Yeah, I saw it with Dave Murphy. I think that
Dave Murphy. Yeah.
Benny Boy knows. Benny Boy, can you tell us? Oh, there it is. She's on Telegram, Facebook, and TikTok as Laura Nina, LauraNina. Okay. There we go. So yeah, people were complaining. I'll have to talk. I don't even know. I didn't even set ads to be on anything different than this week than last week. But people are cannot dare watch the ads. They say they're going to look for another station. So you get it. Here's the thing. If you listen, and this is again, I know I'm always the guy to say this and always pisses people off. But I thought what she said was important there about silence is consenting. I agree with that. I think that I've said it before. You can't really call yourself a truther if all you do is listen to truth information. Take it in for yourself, but you don't disseminate it at all. You don't support the people who do. That's actually not a good thing. If you're a truther doing that, what are you doing? You're actually hurting everything by just taking. I mean, that's selfish. Oh, I want to take all this information for myself, but I'm not going to share it, and I'm not going to spread it, and I'm not going to support the people who are. So again, as a plea, please support those people that you watch, that you enjoy their content. They're doing the research for you and reporting this stuff. It would be helpful that at least that's not silence. That's silence with support to where you can at least say you're contributing towards the movement that many of us have basically turned our life upside down for. Thank you, Benny Boy. He says, I'll drop the links in the GLOBEBUSTERS Telegram and Facebook group. Thank you very much. Very good. Seeing if there's anything else there. All right. So we've also got, thank you, Brianna. Brianna just put in Laura's Telegram channel. Awesome. T.me/Laura Nina chat. She did great though.
Let me
Please
share the screen a little bit.
Yep, you may do.
If you allow me right now, because I think it's related. Before we going live, I tell you that I went to this market called Junas, and this is a new economic system created by French people. It's based on blockchain, and you can use a digital wallet called Cesium. But the idea behind this is not interchangeable. My English is
interchangeable
for that word. Yeah, with money, you just interchange services and products. You cannot buy.
Oh, got you. No cashing
money
out, trying to you see what it is for the dollar or whatever.
Yes. So let me just I going to share with people, because for me this is a real activism. It's everything about you just say. I mean, you need to get up off your chair and start making new things if you want to change the world. If you want to see in that poetic way. And this is real people that a lot of people in this market that I'm going to present very quickly. They are all flat earther. We bring this system to Spain and to Argentina, and it's a great thing because you can bring food, you can bring cloth, you can bring music, you can do, for example, in the today's market, I take by 50 Junas a massage in my feet, for example, and the equivalent, you can say, okay, how much this breath, for example, and because it's not interchangeable with real money, you cannot use real money. Of course, you can take it at the beginning, like a starting point, to say, okay, how is the cost for me to make this bread, and you put the price. And usually when the market open, the people that organize the market and invite the workers or the the contributor to put their own stands and things like that.
Right.
Of course, you talk about it and you say, okay, maybe this homemade mermelada, I don't know the name of this, it's like honey, for example. Okay, it's around $3. So $3 in this type of market is 30 Junes. What is a June? It's this. I can translate it very quickly because it's a really good system. I mean, it's for free. When a new people get into the system creates, it's like, the fiat system based on any time a new human incarnate in this world and is registered, the system creates this bound and this bond with money, right? I don't know if you follow me what I'm saying, but that is how it's the maritimal or the law of the sea. You are like a slave and you represent $7 million in the stock market. So when you born, the system create that. Of course, if you have been registered, right? So this system take that idea, but it's not create. Let me translate it. It's not create, of course, any money, but it's like put in the system new Junes. And you need, of course, 5 real people to validate your ID because it only works with humans, human beings. So let me just go quickly to English. Again, everything is for free and you cannot trade, you cannot make money with this. It's just a system of control for just change products and services. You can change a car if you want. You can say, my car, it's a 5,000 Junes. Okay. Somebody give you the 5,000 Junes and the other, you give your car. Perfect. And what can I do with that? You cannot do nothing. You just can go to other markets that are listed in this forum around America, Latin America, South America, and Europe, and you can use your 5,000 Junes, but just for these type of things. which is the real things, because after all, we need to eat, we need to use clothes and things like that. So you have a lot of this type of environment here. You have these people who are totally awake. A lot of them are flat earther, because we give some free conference here and people give you tunes. For example, you don't pay a ticket, you just give your conference or give your presentation or make some music, and people just give the tunes, and you can go to other market. So
just to be clear, he's saying Junes. I don't think he's talking about trading Jews. We probably shouldn't trade Jews, but go ahead.
Okay, but the name is June. It's Huna.
Huna, okay, gotcha.
The Huna, okay, you like more the word Huna, right?
Well, better
it's
than, it sounds like
Jews,
you're saying Jews.
It's not
like
Jesuit, it's not
okay,
Jews.
not Jews. Okay, don't trade
There are
Jews.
not Davids to interchange, okay?
No.
There is no.
I got 3 Davids. I'll
no.
trade you my 3 Davids for your 2 Davids. You can't do that?
Yeah, 3 Davids. No, it's okay. The Huna.
Huna.
Let's call Huna. So I just going to, I paste this webpage so you can share in the comment section for people to take a look and trying to inform. There is a great documentary talking about how the money is created based on the speech that this woman give online, of course, because it's the same philosophy in the backyard. So I encourage everyone to take a look and do this type of thing, because I didn't see in the United States. In fact, if I go to the forum, there is no in the United States until Colombia and this country. So you can bring it because, again, it's for free. You can go to Apple Store or you can go to the Android Store and download the wallet, which is called Cesium. And you don't need to register, you don't need to present any credential, because it's a free world that we are proposing with this type of system. So you download the app, you install, you give your seed, you put your password, and immediately you can start using it. And there is we know the people from this system, quote unquote system. It's like Rockfin. So they are really happy to bring new people from different parts of the world, because the idea is to have this type of connection, this type of bridges. So we can put, American people, North American people in touch and start using this in Flat Earth meetings, for example. So it's going to be really nice if somebody take the time to take a look, and then we can make the connections and enjoy this type of ideas and new systems for a new world, No,
that's excellent. I was going to say I haven't seen anything like that in the United States yet, so I'll be looking into that. And it's awesome. Was it fun to be there? Everyone have a good time?
It's super. First of all, it's super fun, really, because it's the same atmosphere that we celebrate in the Flat Earth meeting. So that is the first thing. You can see it there. It's people playing guitar, singing, just talking about the Jesuit Freemasonry and how to burn it and how to eliminate from this plane.
Yes.
And then you are just eating and take some massage and buying food, or for example, one of the rules is because a lot of people are new to this type of thing, so you don't have anything to you don't have any hunas, so you just bring a bottle of oil, for example, or you bring some food, and you go to let's say the organizer of the market, and you just give some clothes or some food, and the guy give you some hunas. Why? Because anytime a market open in any part of the world, the central system, if you want to call it that way, because I cannot explain very well, but the central organization give you a base of 1,000 hunas for that cases, that the new people that they don't have anything, because you cannot buy hunas. So the central system give you a certain amount of hunas, so the new people came and give something, or a service, or more often is something like food or cloth, and the master of this of the market give you hunas to start not buying, but take these things. And so again, it's all based on blockchain. You cannot break the system. You cannot cheat the system. That is the nice thing. Then you have, for example, this type of QR code are the wallet address. So you go there. There you have an example. For example, this is cheese. Okay, how much the cheese? 50 hunas, which is like $5. If you're trying to compare, it's not in dollars, but trying to compare things. So you have $50 for the cheese, $75 for this type of food, or a massage is about 100 hunas, and etc., etc., etc.
Excellent. Let me bring
I
some
hope
up,
you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, totally. And I think that, even if it was me last week, when I heard somebody say something about, oh, we've got a bunch of money at the Social Security or, under our number, I would have been a little bit doubtful. But I'll tell you guys that I'm trying to find if I can get this on, but I didn't really get permission to show it. So at my crypto meetings that we have every 2 weeks, we had a gentleman join us this week, and he gets people to change their national status, right? And he explained it in a matter of 15 minutes. And for the first time in my entire life, I got it. It clicked. And I'm like, oh, now I get it. He showed you exactly where the lie is. And kind of like when she was saying, the girl talking about, how they create this fictional world, he described the exact same thing, which is basically, as we know, 1913, 1933, everything that went down with the Federal Reserve, the United States went bankrupt. And kind of picture it this way, that somebody stepped in and said, okay, we'll become the United States, not the country, but we will take on the debt and we will be the United States, the corporation. And then from that day forward, they trick people by bringing you in as citizens of the United States corporation. And so by doing that, that's how they're able to get away with all this. Well, and you guys will be able to watch me do it because I have decided to change my status. So I'll be updating you guys on how that goes. And then if you guys want to get involved in changing yours as well. But I just saw he showed us videos of people getting pulled over by police, and they basically can't do anything. You're on a do not detain list. You are a U.S. national, not a, you're basically, I always get confused on the wording because you have to be careful. United States of America is the country. This is why they always tell you, are you a U.S. citizen? Right? If you're a U.S. citizen, you are a citizen of the United States corporation, not a national for the country. And so he shows you how in your documents, like if we go through and look at the passport application, things like that, it always says this is for citizens of the United States of America / U.S. nationals. But nobody ever asks, well, what's a U.S. national? How do I become one of those? And it seems to be pretty simple. And there was some interesting thing. I'm trying to see if I can find that video, but it should be uploaded. For some reason, I don't see it here. But I wanted to just show you a little bit that he said enough that I said, you know what, I'm in. I'm going to do it. I'm going to see what happens because, and you have to decide for yourself what things make sense for you, what things don't. But I certainly feel like, and I'm hoping this isn't the case, but I don't know what kind of rules God goes by. But I hope we're not responsible for things that happen with our tax money. Because every single atrocity that happens, every single drone bombing, every single country that's upthrown, we insert some shadow government that plays well with the United States. Every time that happens, it's basically on our dollar. And I hope that we don't have some sort of moral accountability for things being done with our money. But if we do, well, one thing I want to do is stop that as soon as possible. Now, when you get to do these things, you stop giving money to NASA. You stop giving money to a government that you no longer agree with, which is what it should be, right? It should be that the government is a representative of you. The moment they stop representing your wants, your desires, you have every right to back out. And that's kind of the story of this country, right? It's the story of how we came to be, which was we left an oppressive government or a government that wanted to tax us. And they came over here and then just did the same thing all over again, even worse. And so let me see. I don't know why I'm not finding this.
You need to share your screen, Jeran.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it first. But
okay. I'm stop sharing. I completely agree, man. Here in Spain, there is a lot of waking people wake people about that topic. And here there is a lot of people practicing that. In fact, in my Rockfin channel, I have a movie called The Island of Roses, which is a real case where I think maybe a lot of this start happening in the early 60s, of course, 1960s, in Italy, where a guy, an engineering, create his own car and create his own house in the not in the middle of the ocean, 11 miles from the ocean, coast shore, and that was the breaking point for the governments to change to 22 miles before you can call international waters. So there is a lot of things to study about this topic. It's a little difficult sometimes to take into the practice,
Yes.
especially like you mentioned before, if you are not aware of using the correct words, because you can put yourself in troubles.
Correct.
But at least you need to start breaking the spell. You know, maybe you don't practice in the outside world, in the real world. You start practicing in your own personal reality.
Yep, totally. And I think I was always afraid of that reason too, of, I don't want to do something wrong and get, but the way this is described is kind of an easy path towards it, to where you, and the things that he showed me, the very first thing that happens when you send this letter, this affidavit saying that you no longer are considering yourself a United States citizen, is that the state of he showed a document from the state of California. I'm assuming it would come from whatever state you're in. But the state of California returns a letter basically saying, we cannot talk to you, we cannot deal with you, we cannot have anything to do with this because you are. It's basically their admission that you have removed yourself, because it's just like if you have a company, some people have these unincorporated private businesses or unincorporated private associations. And when you do that, what you're doing is you're basically, by unincorporating yourself, you're saying, I don't want protection of the government. Now, you don't have any protection if something happens to your business. You're like SOL because you're not incorporated. But it's learning these little things, that there are steps that you can take to remove yourself from the system. And then you're basically on your own. So we saw people get pulled over by the police, and he would even say, like, I'm going to wait for this guy and see what it comes back. And then the cop comes back and says, all right, I got to let you go. It's like, why is it? Why do you have to let me go? And he says, well, because you're on a list, do not detain. He's like, please let me show that on my camera. Please let me just show it from I'll even look from the outside. And the cop's like, I cannot let you do that, because they cannot let it be known proof-wise that what is being said is true, right? So they have to hide it. So this is why they also don't go to court with you, because if it goes to court, you become on the record. So then you're on the record claiming that you're a U.S. national, and it goes from there. So what they usually do is just don't take you to court, which is why you're on a do not detain list. They don't want to deal with you. So it is a possibility. I now believe it. I now am going for it, and I'll keep you guys updated as I do. And I just want to see if this came up here. Did we download this or what? Downloads and this one. Oh, not that one. You idiot. This one. I want to see if it's playing here. Where is it? But I'll show you just a little bit of this guy, just so you can see. And then if you want to watch it yourself, you can do that. Patreon.com/jeranism, and join our little group, which is not very many, 150 people or so. But we meet twice a month and usually have a presentation from somebody. And we've had all kinds of good stuff. Oh, I just showed you that was basically the list here. So this is like some of the back classes, but lots of cryptos. And these are long classes. Each one of them is 2 hours minimum. So I get it would take somebody a long time to get through all of it, but it's all here. It's all available for you. And let's see here if I have this one playing now. Okay, good. Let me play this. And let me find a spot here at the beginning where he was making a lot of sense. But when he describes, he's showing you where in the dictionary or where in the Black's Law dictionary it says certain things. And again, I know you guys know me. I wouldn't say that I think it's legit if I thought it was just another person mouthing off. Let me see. This is recording this one. Why is there two here? Let me see something real quick. And we got to move this.
Thank you. All right, y'all have a good day.
Why is... Hold on. I don't see a video. I just see... All right, there we go. There you go here. See
Certainly almost everything that you're signing, a government document.
We'll just watch this for a second so you can get an idea.
We cannot see.
Yeah, I'm going to put it over.
State citizen.
I'll bring it up.
Okay.
Now.
But yes, that's essentially what you're doing is you're stepping out of federal corporate citizenship and you're going back into the original organic constitutional republic as a state citizen. So that's really all that happens. And so, we have an affidavit. You do this through an affidavit. I talked about that last time as well. And then this sentence is here. So this is how easy it is to escape this matrix, and therefore also their federal taxation, because there are no lawful taxes unless you're talking about alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Those three are the only lawful taxes that are on the books in this country. And I can prove this to you as well. We don't have time to get into it now. But it's basically, I think, Title 27, I think, where they tell you, only taxes for alcohol, tobacco.
I do remember what he said that made me go, all right, I'm all in now. He's talking and he says, and I didn't know this, you always hear me make fun of the Library of Alexandria. There's a story that all of the world's books got put into this one library. Like, that's the dumbest thing that anybody's ever heard. Like, oh, let's just bring every book in the world that has any knowledge and put it in one building. And oops, it burned down, right? And it so happened to burn for 6 months, as if anything could ever burn for 6 months. Some sort of rock library full of a bunch of books. And just 6 months, nobody knew to go get a pail of water. They didn't. They're right next to the damn ocean right there in Alexandria.
A pile of sand.
No, they didn't know how to do that. It's too it's too much for the
somebody
ancients.
blow.
No, nothing. Just I think what they did is they tried to put it out with more fire. And that's for 6 months. They just did that and just kept burning, and they couldn't figure it out.
And that time people make pee with gasoline. Yeah.
Exactly. So he's talking about the Library of Congress, and he's talking about all these laws of it. And then he says the Library of Congress burned to the ground and all the law books with it. And I was like, oh my God, they didn't just repeat the story, which is what they always do, right? It's these stories that they've told throughout history that just get repeated. So I've got to look into that further. Did the Library of Congress with a bunch of our law books that used to show these original things? Because he talks about the original 13th Amendment.
I've never heard that.
Me neither.
I've never heard the
and to be
Library
honest,
of
I haven't
Congress burned down. I know the White House was destroyed at one time.
And I don't know if that's true either, but so far this guy has not said anything that I have any doubts about. And so,
yeah, I don't know if it happened or not. According to his story, the White House was destroyed and then moved to Washington, D.C. and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, all that. But no, I don't recall the Library of Congress being burned down ever.
I should just write. I'm just going to type that in and see if that Library of Congress fire. Let's see, Library of Congress.
Well, but remember that this new thing about the sea law start getting fire on the city of London in 1666 in the year of 1666. Supposedly, a guy who was the people that make bread. How you call it? Panadero.
What? Make bread?
Bread to eat.
Yeah. What about it? Make it?
Yeah. How is the name?
Bake it?
To bake.
Bake it. Yeah. Supposedly, a bake it guy. He forgot the oven with the fire, and his business place start getting fire and spread all over the London city, and then the whole city burns. And after that, they start putting these new ocean or sea laws, the law of the sea, and everything start there. That is why they create the City of London, the Vatican City, and the Columbia City.
We've been fooled. We've been fooled in the last 100 years, 150 years. This is what we're figuring out here. Library of Congress, 1851. 2/3 of the books burned down. Never heard this in my life. Never even heard at all that the Library of Congress lost all these books. Oh, I'm sure it just burned for 6 years, probably. And so what does it say here? The first library catalog dated April 1802 listed 964 volumes and 9 maps. 12 years later, the British Army invaded the city of Washington and burned the Capitol, including the 3,000-volume Library of Congress. Former President Thomas Jefferson advocated the expansion of the library. The purchase of Jefferson's 6,487 volumes was approved the next year by George Watterson. Was hired to replace the House clerks in the administration. In 1851, a second major fire at the library destroyed about 2/3 of its books. Congress responded quickly and generously to the disaster, and within a few years, a majority of the books of the lost books were replaced. Yeah, I'm sure they weren't changed at all either. They probably just exactly as they were before. So, I mean, when he says, I'm like, what the hell? I mean, they've used this excuse many times. And he showed that the original, now I don't remember if it's 13th or 14th, amendment has been changed. And he showed proof of it, that, go back and find a book from pre the burning. So I think it was 1820 or something, 1830, whatever it was, that shows the original amendment. And then that they changed it after the fire. So it's like, and then you can't find those books. So it's just incredible how much we've been swindled. And one of those swindles is a simple one, which is the United States of America, the country, went bankrupt. And when it went bankrupt, somebody has to come in and basically buy up all its debt. And there was a corporation. The United States is the corporation, or the U.S. And so when you are a U.S. citizen and when you fill out so there is an account. Now he's got something that he's not allowed to talk about that you can access, or at least it's not as simple as some people say. They say, oh, you can go and write checks against your money that's in this bank account or whatever. Well, he says you can't really do that. But what you can do is you can discharge debt to your account. They've got proof of it. They say it's been done. It keeps being done. So anyway, and I can't remember the name. I think the name of his site is freedomhubs.com. But if you want to hear him talk and speak, you want to check out that class. But let me go back over there and we'll just listen to a little bit more. Really well-spoken guy, and it's for the first time in my life I got it. I understood the scam. I understood why they do it. I understood why the police were going to respond a certain way. I understood why governments have to respond a certain way. It's because you are basically removing yourself, and they tell you how to talk to cops when they first come to your window. You say, do you promise me that you will abide by the Constitution of the United States? And force the police officer to say yes. Now they're on record as saying, well, in the Constitution of the United States, it is written for U.S. nationals, not for citizens of the United States. So by doing that, then when you declare yourself as a national, they take your little ID card, which is basically a passport. They go run it through their system, and their system tells them that they're not allowed to detain you. And they come back and just basically let you go. And he actually showed some videos like that. We can actually show them.
Firearms are legitimate taxes.
Let me go in here.
Everything else is voluntary. Everything else is voluntary. But, that's why they had to brainwash you all your life to think that it's mandatory. Anyway, so you put this sentence right here, I, being duly sworn, hereby declare my intention to be a national. It doesn't say state. It doesn't say American national. It just says national, but not a citizen of the United States. Boom. You put this into an affidavit form. You send it to the U.S. Secretary of State in D.C., and congratulations, you are once again a national, or you're once again a state citizen. Okay, because it's all about jurisdiction. Again, we talked about this last time. I just wanted to do a quick review.
And this is the second time on the group, by the way.
About
see if he gets to the.
Is that it? No. Here. So, I added this in because there's so much confusion again about this national status. And like I said, there are these.
So let me skip forward a little bit here, and you guys can kind of see, So this is talking about.
You get a different type of license, like a driver's.
You get a passport. It's
okay.
You just get a passport because you don't need a driver's license anymore. Your passport is your proof of identity, and the passport has on it U.S. national, not USA, or not citizen of the United States.
And if you wanted to drive, you'd probably get something that said U.S. national on the plate.
Well, it's funny because all the interactions with the police, they all tell the drivers when they're leaving, hey, make sure you get those plates taken care of. But it's more of a thing they have to say, right? Because nobody actually is doing anything. You don't even get a fix-it ticket. So you're like, all right, see you, cop. But they do have, it seems like most of them have something written on their license plate. And actually one of the cops tells the guy, just take that off there. Like he probably doesn't want other people to see it, right? If other people are driving around seeing
I've seen a lot more people getting away with this lately.
Yeah,
they go to the DMV, they give them this little thing to put in their window that says, this isn't a commercial vehicle. This person is not operating anything. They're just using a automobile conveyance or whatever they call it. There's a different phrase. When the police officer comes up and said, well, you were operating this vehicle, it's really not true unless you're in commerce, moving goods or something.
And he talks about that too. The U.S. nationals travel. They don't drive.
Yeah, they
Yep.
travel,
Yeah.
exactly.
There is why it's so important. I share in the chat of GlobeBuster on YouTube this movie about the Rose of Iceland, Iceland of Roses. If you are capable to build and create your own vehicle, for example, you don't have you don't have the obligation to register. Sometimes when you use a car created by a company and you have serial numbers in the motor, in you know, not just the patent outside of the car for the license for transit the car, but also you know what I'm trying to say. I mean, if you can be the creator of the vehicle, it's another layer of freedom, if you want to see in that way. When you use a car with a serial number belongs to a registered company, well, that could be in some of the cases a little bit, you know, a little bit more, quote unquote, bring you a little bit more of paperwork, if you want to see that way.
Yeah, in the fine print, it might say something like,
Yes,
these are to be
yes.
used
Of
only
course.
for operating vehicle, blah, blah,
Yes,
blah, blah, blah.
yes.
Yeah.
Of course, it's very difficult to create your own car if you are not a person that had that opportunity.
Fred
But,
Flintstone did.
you know,
Be fine.
that's the idea behind.
Yeah, so that's if you can create your own car, right? But this is on the screen here is talking about very important that he's, you know, when you swear to tell the truth, the whole, you know, declaration of under perjury, penalty of perjury, that there's two different types. There's one if executed without the United States, which says I declare, certify under the penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States of America, which again is the country. And then the second one doesn't show if executed within the United States, its territory. Then I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct, which you don't have to say, or you're not saying under the United States. So then he gets into showing you the passport, where it says here, I don't know if you can read that, but it says it permits the citizen/national. Okay, so it's not. So what is the difference? Nobody's ever asked why is there a difference? Why is it citizen or national? Aren't they the same thing? Then this is the letter that you get from the state of California when you've mailed your affidavit. We appreciate hearing from citizens on matters of public concern. However, we are prohibited by law from representing private individuals or providing. So what's the crazy thing about this is, when has the government ever referred to you as a private individual? Well, this is because you've already declared that you are no longer a citizen of the United States. You are now a national, at which point they have now considered you a private individual. So their letter is telling you, we're prohibited from law from representing private individuals or providing any legal advice, legal research, legal analysis to any private individuals and under any circumstances. So as he's telling the story, it starts to hit me like, oh, I see the scam. I see what they're doing. I see why they have to do it. Talking about, again, here on the, you can still get benefits, right? If you have unemployment, it says right there, I declare under penalty of perjury, I am a U.S. citizen or national. Why is there a difference? Here's this guy getting pulled over by the police.
Get rid of it. Get the car registered. Okay? I got you. All right.
You got several registered. Why not this one?
I don't have any. I don't have anything registered in my name.
You had several cars, Chevys and.
Oh yeah, that was in the past.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got a whole bunch of them. Well, you had a whole bunch of them.
Well,
this is unregistered, unlicensed, no insurance.
I'll go ahead and take care of that.
Here's what I am going to tell you, okay? Today I'm not giving anything, except for I'm going to give you your information.
Okay.
That if you get pulled over and someone wants to know who you are, that way you can just give them that. That tells us who you are.
Okay. All right.
So, but here's what I am going to say. If I see you out here again with this tag,
I got you.
All right.
I got you. Cool.
So he didn't even really make a threat there. He basically told him, I don't want to see you out here with this tag anymore, meaning the piece of paper that he put over his license plate, because they don't want people to be driving around with that. They would rather they just have an old license plate or something, and then you pull them over, and then they tell you that they're a U.S. national.
But here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm doing. Don't drive.
I'm not driving.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Y'all have a good day.
Again, don't drive, but he's traveling.
Yeah.
I ain't driving.
Yeah, I think you're right. They just don't want other people seeing these tags all over the place.
Correct. That would be the
because
biggest
they're
problem
going
for
to be
them.
like, hey, if they can do it, then I'm going to do that. I'm tired of paying, every year to get a new license plate and all this stuff.
Here's another one. It's pretty funny. This girl here, she actually thinks she's in trouble. She's already like, well, we're going to have to go to court now. as the police take away her husband's, ID card, and then they come back and just completely let him go.
That's what the fuck that do not detain list do for your
activity.
Sorry. Let's go a little
Port.
further.
And I'll fast forward again to when the cop comes back. Oh, wait. Is this it?
All I know is this motherfucker started asking questions before I could get my passport. I was supposed to get my passport.
So she's worried. She thinks they're going to be busted.
Here you go, man.
You got to deal with the Wayne County stuff.
Hand it
all
to
right?
her, please.
We're not going to get any tickets from me. Fix your windshield and get that registration thing. All right?
All right, my card.
I got it. I got it.
Okay. Thanks, man. Yep. Hey, hold on. Let's go.
I don't even know why I was worried.
We know we ain't gonna get no tickets from you because we on the detain list. We on the do not
That's
detain.
what the fuck that do not detain list do for your ass. We in Dearborn.
Got pulled.
We in Dearborn. Bold ass plates. Bold ass plates. No insurance. No motherfucking registration. Guess what that bitch said? He can't give us no motherfucking ticket.
So as I watched this presentation, it just started to ring true a little bit more than I've seen from other ones. There's another one.
So he's saying foreign national, technically, by the...
You're free to go, all right, my man?
Thank you very much.
Let me see here.
All right, fast forward until he comes back.
And you can tell if you watch these that they're not. This is not trickery as far as like, oh, we're not getting. They come and say, can I see your driver's license registration? And you just give them that passport. Don't answer questions. They go away from the car. They come back and let you go.
All right. Here's your ID back. All right, don't. You came through like a sidewalk over there, man.
Yeah, dude, I did not even notice.
I was gonna say, I drove through back there and I was like, he's got to be lost.
Yeah.
So, yeah, your license is all good and stuff, man. Just, there's tags, they don't come back to anything. So just make sure you get your car registered whenever you get a chance. Other than that, you're free to go. All right, my man?
Thank you very much.
I mean, that's insane. For anybody who's ever been stopped, he just says like your tags didn't come back to anything. His tags don't come back to anything. His tags didn't really come back to anything. You were driving on the sidewalk over there. And this guy says at the end, he's like, yeah, I was lost and I ended up driving over somebody's sidewalk.
Once again, foreign national.
Yeah, they don't just let you go when you're driving on the sidewalk.
No.
You're going to get something for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oops.
Not driving, got pulled over. I got fucking lost making a turn somewhere. Didn't know where the fuck to go at. Came over a damn sidewalk.
So, yeah. And then there's more.
And there's more, supposedly. So again, I mean, to each, this is a place where you can get started, learn.freedomhubs.org if you want to check it out. Of course, there's a monthly price, but you get to be involved with them. They'll work with you. They help get all the things taken care of for you. So it's something I'm going to join and start the process and see how it goes. And if you want to wait until I'm in jail and then you go, we shouldn't do what Jeran did, then you can do that. Or you can just wait until I have any kind of good results and I will convey them to you. But I thought it was interesting because what she's saying is that they've created a fake globe. And sorry to bring it back. I mean, we went on a diversion there, but they created a fake globe and everything that has to operate within the false world of their fake globe. Well, it's the same thing with the corporation of the United States. They can't let people know that. So they created a fake country. The fake country is the U.S., United States, where that's basically a corporation. And a lot of this stuff I was a little confused at true, but I mean, if you start to do the research, you're going to see what happened in 1911, 1913, 1933. Then you start realizing we didn't have income tax until 1933. So why was there no income tax? Then all of a sudden the United States files bankruptcy. Then there's income tax after. Well, it's because you are now a citizen of the corporation. So of course you owe the company that you work for money. Of course you do. So again, that's the way that they've hoodwinked everybody. and nobody really sees it. And again, he talks about how there's other things on his site that will show you. What was this part here? I don't know what this is. Oh, this is the guy who wants to get on camera. It's saying do not detain, but the cop won't let him. Let's see it.
Running my non-citizen national passport, and we basically gonna see what do the police actually find when he run this passport. So we're gonna actually see what the officers see. So right now we just waiting, see what's gonna pop up.
So he's going to wait for a few more minutes. Talk about now. He calls it the non-citizen national. So he did not specifically follow the process that we do, but whatever process he followed, it still worked. So remember, the non-citizen national is the American Samoan only. Maybe he could prove American Samoan heritage, but I don't see where that would come into play because they're not a citizen. So state citizens have. Maybe he just misspoke, but I just want to make that clear. So here we go. And you have to carefully listen because he has a mask on.
Looked at it. I'm telling you, I've been doing this for almost 31 years now, so I haven't seen something like that. But what I'm kind of understanding, what I'm reading is when we run people, whatever, we call a hit. And so let's say if you had a warrant, and they showed me, because you was arrested or whatever, and it's just going to give me information. Yeah. And if they don't arrest, based on what it was. Yeah, it popped up says do not detain. Please look at it. Please look at it. Please can I look at it? Please can I look at it? Please, I can't read outside the window.
So if you couldn't hear that, the cop basically said, oh, well, I've been doing this 31 years, never seen this before, but when I look up your name, it comes back, do not detain. And then the guy starts jumping around saying, please let me see it. Please let me show it. And the cop said, they can't do that. I can't let you do that. So again, it's something that I think is pertinent to right now, and it might be one of our best bets to at least remove ourselves from a system that we don't agree with. And that's really, again, I always go back to, the Bill of Rights, I guess, is what is originally the document that pointed it out. But, and again, so the Bill of Rights, by the way, is not for United States citizens. The Bill of Rights is for nationals. And so they've even confused us as to thinking, and they can't tell you that because, again, then that would you'd catch on. So they have to kind of make us think that, yes, we do have the same rights as the Constitution. We do have the same rights but we really don't. And that's how they're able to get away with so much. Let me see if I find, where's this?
Now, can somebody not born on U.S. soil become a national here in this country, or do you have to be born here?
Good question. I'd have to go back and listen to the beginning again.
Well, there you have the song. Born in the USA.
There you go.
You know that song is actually ripping on the U.S. A lot of people don't know that. They'll sing it like, yeah, the U.S. is great. But if you read the words, he's actually ripping on the United States government and all the atrocities that we've done.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and listen to it. So I guess, come on, can I just find the words for the stupid Declaration of Independence? Let's go with, I just wanted to read the Declaration of Independence, not the whole thing, of course, but the beginning of it. This one contains 3 sections. Okay. Of course I can't find the actual text of it. That'll be, here we go. PDF. That should work. So yeah, I mean, in the beginning of it tells us everything that we've forgotten, or that most people have forgotten, which is says in Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States. Also, I was reading this week some books that talk about, which I thought was incredible, that there was a lot of arguments about the Declaration of Independence and what should be in there and what shouldn't. And a lot of these guys just compromised. And even though they weren't really happy with it, they said, you know what, it's going to be better if we go back to all of our colonies and say we all agreed to this, rather than we go back and say, okay, well, 10 people agreed to this part, these people don't, because it would put like a sour taste in people's mouths. Where if you just went back and said, all the states agree to this, which I thought was kind of incredible that they did it that way. But anyway, it says, in the course of human events, which we are in the middle of human events, if you didn't know that, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and the nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them for separation. So basically telling you that it becomes every once in a while, which again, that time limit is about 300 years, most of history, when governments become tyrannical, governments do terrible things. And so what you do is you have to dissolve that government, because the government, again, acts for you. And we all would admit right now. Now, some people are totally sold on the current state of things. We know that. Many of these science people, because they just are happy with the status. They're happy they don't have to think much. Somebody's already done all their thinking for them. They just go to their 9-to-5 job, get through it, and they feel like that's a good life. So that's the problem that we have, is that they've actually now convinced people that slavery is great. Slavery is what it's supposed to be. And so people don't want to stand up and go against a government that they feel is doing, I guess a good job. I don't know what they're thinking. But then it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I don't know how that's in there when they only made black people 3/5 of a person. But anyway, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Remember that. So their powers that are given to them are from us. So they don't have control. They don't have anything over you, which is the place that we're at now, where the government can do anything they want to you. Well, that's not receiving just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, would we say that today our form of government is destructive to the ends of actually, implementing things that are good for the community, good for the world, good for the society? We can easily say that. That when they become destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter and abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation. What's funny is that I believe the original document says it is the right and the duty. I'll have to check that, but this particular document I'm looking at just says that whenever form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people. I believe the original document might say duty. Right of the people to alter or abolish
Doesn't it say not only the right?
Yeah, I thought so. I don't know. I wonder if we can find the original. Let me look real quick.
But the duty?
Original.
Yeah.
I mean, when they have these kind of omissions, guys, we have to see what there's a reason for it, right? So let's see. Declaration of Independence. See if we can actually look at the document. Oh, geez. Good luck with that.
Well, yeah, that's a little different when you tell someone they have the right to do something, and when you tell them, well, if you want freedom, it's kind of your duty to stand up to us. You don't want to go telling people that.
Jeez, you cannot read that. That's way too small. That's as big as they do that on purpose too. I guarantee it. Look how small this is on the screen. Can you see it? I can't. Oh wait, what are we looking at? Oh, that's the pop player. Sorry, let me get over here. That's what I meant you to look at. So I'm looking at this declaration, but I can't read. Let me try and zoom in. No, there's no way. I can already see. No.
Wow. And most people, all these young people today, can't even read it.
No, I can't see where the part would be. No, I can't read it enough. Let me see if we find a better copy of it, because that's, look at all these three. When you open them, they just come up. Look at this one's terrible. Just show me a fairly different one. Let's see if we can find this one. What's that one?
All the 8K stuff out now, and this is the best they can do for these documents.
I know. Where is it? Got it. I can't. Oh, wait. Here we go. That to these rights, governments are instituted among men. Sorry if you can see where I'm at here. Oh, you can't see my mouse. I'm just trying to see where it's at. Man, formation of such shall lobby. I just can't see it right now. I'd have to actually. Oh wait, that governments long established should be not changed on training. Okay, I remember that's the part is that right after where I'm reading? Hold on, let me read this back. It says something about shouldn't be changed for transient reasons. Which again, who doesn't agree with that? If the government's doing a decent job, don't just change it because hey, these guys are stepping on the grass. They should walk on the sidewalk. Let's change government. Nope. But when you get to the point that we're at now, where they are literally letting people steal things from the state of California. You're allowed to just walk into stores and just steal anything. There's even like a limit, like, oh, you can steal up to $100. But and then, so what do you think everyone's going to do? They go out and they steal, a bunch of shit. And then they're also the report came back. I forgot how many years they're looking at. It might only be the last couple years that California has spent something like $27 billion on homelessness, and it's increased like 15%. And if you've been to California, if you drive up the Highway 99, which is the one goes right through my city, every single exit is becoming a homeless encampment. It's insane.
It's all the way up to Washington State. Cami's friend, who's in from Washington, said every exit off a highway you can look under the overpass and there's a little community, a tent community going on underneath there. Every single one.
Yep. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Oh, now we can read that. So let's see here. If we use the pursuit of happiness, that to the secure these ends becomes destructive of these ends. It is the
and it's the laws that they're passing out there.
Yeah.
One of her friends, somebody had broken into their house and attacked their friend while they're in bed sleeping, and the guy got off, and the cops can't do anything. And the cop said, "Hey, you voted for this. We can't do anything. You voted for these laws. You've tied our hands. There's nothing we can do." Yeah, it's just crazy out there. I don't know what's going on with just the laws in general are made for criminals to flourish.
I just saw people to all right here. To these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. And maybe it's in another part of the document, or maybe this is just a, because this is on Wikipedia, so maybe they took the new version of it. But I do remember it saying it is the right, it is the duty. I don't know why I remember that, but I could be wrong. I don't know if anybody else remembers that. But let's go back and just finish that one sentence or that one part. So basically saying that that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter it or abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. And it says, prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms of which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses, I wonder where that, and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them to under absolute despotism, it is their right. Oh, this is the part. My bad. I should have just kept reading. It is their right. It is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for the future security. Such has been the patient suffrage of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their forms of systems of government. So anyway, that is basically it. That they've created a false world. We live in it. We allow it. We accept it, and people just kind of turn the other cheek and just deal with it. But what happens with that is, as we've seen, and this has been happening throughout all of history, that in time, it only gets worse. Never does government get to a certain place and say, let's release some of our hold. Let's release some of our, surveillance. Let's pull it back. I don't know if you guys saw that there's like a state, I think it's in Oregon or something. They're passing some law about AI able to look through your cell phone records and text messages. I mean, it's insane what direction we're going. So I think it's very important that we have to if we don't want our children to be slaves, then we need to do something. And some people are talking about an Antarctica trip, basically getting people together to start talking about it, to start formulating a plan, whether it's raising money, whether it's going to be some sort of airship, whether it's just going to be a boat to go down and see if they can skirt the wall for a little bit and see. But there's lots of people talking about these things. It's not being talked about. And this is another thing that, people need to be ready in this case, because it says here that to prove this, the facts are submitted to a candid world, talking about the great King of Britain, saying that he has refused to assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual. He has dissolved the representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of people. So anyway, it goes through this list, but I think we would be able to come up with a equal list quite easily. So they've created the false world. If you truly believe in this spinning ball, like she said, then you are you're not at center with yourself yet. You have not realized the world that you're living in. You have not recognized the magic of the world that we're in. You are in a fiction that they've created for you, and you like it. And the people who are out there, the McToons, the FTFE, I wish these guys knew the opinion that we have of them. You are protecting governments that have long caused hardships to citizens, rather than backing fellow citizens who are doing nothing but, you want to call us liars and grifters, and like anybody's coming along like, I'm just going to lie about the shape of the earth in order to make money so I can make, $1,500 a month on YouTube. It's insane to think that that's what's going on. We are actually trying to help you. It's why same thing happened with the Jibby Jew, when we weren't trying to make money off that. You think anybody really made money off of that? No, we were trying to protect people. And so when you go around saying we're grifters, we're lying. What do you? We're lying about the Jibby Jew, and it just doesn't even make sense. It like becomes.
And
was
there any apology after all the actual evidence came out? I mean, if you go look at the evidence now, people who didn't get the jibby jab are less likely to be getting this.
Or be getting anything.
I think it's like getting anything. Yeah. Most of the stuff that people were saying turned out to be correct.
Yeah, and it's
the crazy part is the CDC was the one putting out all this information in real time, but nobody went to the CDC to look for their stuff. They listened to the news.
Right. And the media is I've told the story a million times. You probably heard me tell it. But there was one dinner that we were having with my mom, her husband, and he's a big engineer and has worked for Northrop Grumman in the past, making submarines and things like that. And he sits down at dinner and he's like, okay, you got to talk to me about this 9/11 thing. Because he's like, I don't get it. That all the engineers that I know, they would be up in arms if there was any problems with it, And so we're talking, and he really couldn't, I would ask him things like, what about the 27 cameras on the front of the Pentagon? How can we have none of that footage? He's like, well, they're probably just keeping it. And so they'll eventually let it out. Yeah, they have to, But again, you'll never see that because no plane. But so as we're continuing, then he said, Jeran, let me tell you the difference between the United States and communist countries like China and Russia. He said, it's our free and open press. He said, we have to have a free and open press that's able to look into the government to expose corruption. So he says, so I know that 9/11 couldn't be what conspiracy theorists say because somebody in the media would have uncovered it. So I said to him, okay, so now tell me, if our media was ever compromised, if the media was then in the control of the government or in the control of bankers or in the control of corporations, what would that mean? And he says, oh, that's the end of the United States as we know it. I said, okay, now I'm saying that's already happened. That's where we're having a disconnect, is I'm saying that's already taken place. So the news that you're watching isn't actually digging into the corruption of governments. It is actually in the pocket of governments. And so even when you find some little thing where they're like, oh, this news is pointing out, it's all by design. It's all when they want the government to look bad, they'll make the government look bad. When they want it to look good, they'll make it look good. And it's all just a huge lie. And they've realized how you convince people, how you get into the minds of people, and how people don't have time, right? When they have all these jobs, people don't have time to research, to do any independent study, to actually take up arms against the government, things like that, right? So this is why it's all by design, and it's all within the globe and also the monetary system. I've talked about it before, but we have AI coming out right now. We've got robotics. Well, those things should reduce the workload of humanity. People should start by now working 20-hour-a-week jobs, 30-hour-a-week jobs, right, rather than 60 or something. But the problem is that the world can't run that way because they've set it up that you have to have money to live. So you can't have you can't reduce jobs. If you reduce jobs, where are those people going to get money to live? Well, that's the requirement of the system that we're in. You have to have money to live. You have to have money to eat. You have to have money to drive. You have to have money to do anything, go anywhere. So it's all a big hoax. It's all a big scam, and they know it. And people are starting to wake up to it, but it becomes very difficult to remove. I remember when we got rid of all our credit cards, we felt so good for the longest time. We had no debt and credit cards. And then you go to rent a car and they're like, you need a credit card. Well, what do you mean? I have it? Nope, only credit card. So then we couldn't even rent.
Stay at a hotel with
yeah.
a credit card.
Right. We couldn't even rent a truck to move to this house that we live in now. I had to have somebody else rent it for me because so there is preventive measures that they put in place to kind of keep you
in the system,
right.
the system.
Correct. Right. Exactly. And yeah. Anytime you sign a W-2 or whatever it is, when you go to work a job, what that is I agree to pay the United States this much tax when I get this job, and then you sign it. And then, so that's when the people get in trouble, is people will then say, oh, I'm not going to pay taxes. I don't have to pay taxes. It's voluntary. Well, yeah, but you already signed a document saying that you would. So then those people try not to pay taxes, and then the government goes after them and gets them. And then people are like, see, I told you have to pay taxes. Well, there is a way to do it. And it seems like that Freedom Hubs is a great place to start. It's not very expensive. I think it's like $17.76 Actually, it gets $1 for the first month and then $17.76 each month after. And you can get out at any time if you get your affidavit put in and you become a national and you want to be done with them, you can. So it is something I'm going to do if you want to wait and see how my process goes. I'm all for no longer, like I've said before, I have every right to say that I do not agree in any way with paying any of my money to a fraud organization that makes cartoons in the sky. Okay. I have zero desire. There's nothing profitable there. There's nothing that will ever come to my children or my grandchildren or my great-grandchildren. It doesn't help the United States, doesn't help the world in any way. It simply is a fabrication of a story to create this kind of false sense of we have to go to the stars. It's the world's, destination. So humanity's destiny is to go to the stars. No, it's not. Okay, we've talked about it before. Going 100,000 miles per hour, which is as fast as any human has ever gone, for 24 hours a day, for 365 days a year. That it would take 28,000 years to get to the closest star, they say. Okay. So if that's their story that they're going to stick to, then I say that there's no way any penny from anybody's money should go towards investigating things that are 28,000 years away. Okay.
Elon says it only take 1 million years and we could, the whole solar system.
Yeah, remember
the whole solar system.
What did he say? I remember he said that. He was way off.
He was on Joe Rogan. They were hanging out, and he's, we'll have the whole solar system in 1 million years, and some other nearby galaxies.
Sure, Elon.
Yeah. Or not solar system. I'm sorry, not solar system. The whole galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy.
Right, the Milky Way is what he says, I think.
Yeah, in 1 million years, and then some other galaxies, nearby ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just go there, and that's just easy to do. You just go there and just set up shop and you just start living there. I mean, it's so stupid. We have everything we need here. It's like, why would you ever go anywhere else? Like, Elon wants to go to Mars where there's no water, no food, it's nothing, no atmosphere, no air. It's like, yeah, let's go there. I mean, this is how stupid people are. They've been convinced. There's people out there who say, I want to go to Mars with Elon. And on an 8-month trip where you get there and everybody kill each other by then. People can't go on a 15-hour flight. They lose their minds. But yet, now we're going to go to the stars. So anyway, I feel like if we can't stand up and say, I want none of my taxes to go to your space fraud in the sky, where these guys just basically lie to you and tell you that, and just keep speaking to kids every day. They speak to 3 or 4 different classrooms in a pre-recorded interview where the children ask questions that have been handed to them. None of them are written by the children. And it's all just to reconfirm this lie. And if you think about it in these terms of, we've got the fake corporation, we've got the fake United States, the fake country, the fake globe, you start to see how it all fits together. Because for a while, sometimes some things didn't fit to me. It seemed like, what is NASA doing this for? It seems like they're just kicking the can down the road. Well, that's because they get away with it. And as long as they keep training the new children in the lie, then their fake corporation, fake system, fake globe can continue. Right. And we are the only ones who can stop it. And it can happen in a generation by teaching our children to not believe in the lies of these people. But again, they've been going in orbit of 21 years. Supposedly, this thing's going around the Earth 17 times a day or whatever they say it is. And yet it has provided nothing. It has provided no medical breakthroughs, no discoveries. They are basically up there saying, oh, we put spiders in these cases and we see if they respond to zero gravity. Who cares? Who cares? You want to have private investors that do that for you? By all means. Put out flyers, send letters, whatever. Any private investor that wants to donate to NASA, by all means. But if you're talking about citizens and our tax money, sorry, I don't want anything going to Bill Nelson, the secret society book and snake member from Yale, who is now in charge of NASA, who supposedly went to space and was a senator for all these years, and who was in charge of space appropriations and making sure they got every penny that they wanted. And they just keep scamming people. I've said it before. When NASA has a engineer who creates or discovers something or invents something, well, we are the ones paying NASA, and we are the ones paying the inventor. So therefore, it is our invention, meaning that should be immediately released to public. What happens instead? NASA releases it to a auction that is then purchased by the highest bidder, which is some company who then gets this new technology, who then gets to charge us an arm and a leg for it. So we're paying for the inventions. We're paying for the discoveries of new items. And then we're being charged more money than we would have Because again, when a corporation buys a patent, they can charge whatever they want because nobody else can actually create that product. So you can just tell things like this are evidence that these things are not set up for us. Any country that was really in the best interests of the people would never do that. Why would you ever allow a company that is being funded by taxpayers to then sell these proprietary information or these patents to the highest bidder? I mean, you can tell who's in charge. Corporations are in charge. Companies are in charge, not the people anymore. So it is the time, at least in my book, where we need to start making these moves. We need to start getting together and making a decision to actually remove ourselves from the system. So I feel like this thing, the U.S. national, is one of the ways to go about doing that. And it doesn't seem like it's real frightening to me to where I'm like, oh, I'm going to lose everything if I do. No, it seems like you write the affidavit, see if you get the letter back from the state. The letter back from the state calls you a private individual. That would be the first time in my entire life that any government agency has referred to me as a private individual. They always refer to me, are you a U.S. citizen? Are you, And so that's step one, is them admitting that they no longer have, sorry, we can't give you any evidence or any advice. We can't give you any law advice because you are a private individual. And so you become that private. And then when you sign up for a passport, there's a box for U.S. national, not United States citizen. So then you check that box and you go on from there. So long story short, I think that people should start looking into things like this because they create fear. They create a fake world, and we are choosing to live within it. And so the people that want to go south, I'm all for them too. I'll do the best I can to back them in any way that they need, or advertise for them, or help them with raising funds, because I do think things like that are important. I realize it's not going to be easy, but even if you get in a boat and you go down below the 60 and they turn you around, guess what? Everybody has their cameras running. And another thing I've heard, and I kind of agree with, is that don't make it private, but make it public. So we might be thinking, oh, we got to hide our plans. No. They say you want your plans to be out loud, because if you're saying we're going to go south of 60, we're going to go skirt Antarctica, and then they stop you, that there's enough people out there that are sailors, that are boatsmen, yachtsmen, who are going to see that and they're going to take notice. Okay, there's enough people out there that will take note. Like, what? What do you mean? Why are they getting stopped from going? I'm going to go down there and see. So if we just keep saying things and nobody ever shows anything, we don't have really evidence of it. That could be, just this delay. Because I do think it is a problem that it's been 9 years. We've been doing this for 9 years. Not one person has tried to go to Antarctica. Not one. And it's because we're sold fear. We're sold the wasteland. We're sold that, what are you going to do when you get there? And I'll be the first one to admit, I say it. What are we going to do when we get there? There's no food. And I get it. I'm not saying let's go on a death wish, but let's know those things. Let's prepare for them. Let's have contingency plans or contingency boats, something, because it's not going to be done any other way. It's not going to be done. We can't do what the government did. What did the government do when they wanted to discover the South? They sent your frickin' kids. They sent children in the draft, people that were in the military, and they said, all right, everybody get on this boat. We're all going down south to do all. So they did, because nobody else would really ever go. How are you going to convince somebody to go to Antarctica and do all these things? It's kind of like hard to do. But if you get people in the draft and people in the military to do it, that's how they did it. We know that's how all discoveries were made. All mapping of coastlines were all done by multi-million-dollar missions by governments. And so we don't have that. So we just have to keep making people aware. Maybe there's people out there with money who will hear it, who will step forward. But again, that's the scariest part for me, is that have they made, money makes the world go round, right? So have they made money so important to people and such a driver in people's lives that people won't stand up for what's right anymore? And hey, I'll just admit, when I was down south in that house and, sitting back by the pool one night, and it just kind of hit me like, wait a second, this house is only about $1 million. It was only 400,000, 2015 basically. But, let's say it's $1 million house. Is that it's $1 million house. It's so comfortable. It's like, man, I see why they give people houses like this, right? Or why people make about enough money to afford a house. Because if somebody does that, let's say you're a doctor, let's say you're a lawyer, let's say you get vaccines, whatever it is, and you start to learn something's amiss. Well, it's really on your soul then to decide, well, what's more important, my family, as a father, as a husband, to keep the security that and the safety that my family has now. And I think more often than not, people will always choose that. And we can give them a hard time if we want. We can say all the shit that we want about them, but I don't think people actually look into their own hearts or their own souls to really check themselves. That what would you do? And I've said it before. If NASA showed up at my door today and said, Jeran, here's $10 million. We need you to make Globe propaganda films. I could easily say no because I would not lie. But if NASA shows up at my door and says, Jeran, here's 10 million, we need you to stop making videos and disappear, go live somewhere else. We don't want to hear from you anymore. That's going to be very difficult to say no, because as a husband, as a father, sometimes you're like, my family's safety, security, so I think that happens way more than we know. It's why everybody who's in the music business.
Good. I told Dave he better take it.
Right.
If they come up to him and say, hey, here's your own little island, blah, 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 and, however much a year, and you just have to disappear and just not talk about flat Earth anymore. I was like, you'd be dumb if you didn't, dude.
And I appreciate people who say that, because there's a lot of people out there who say, I would never. I would say, F you can kiss. And you can say that all you want. And I just will tell you, I don't believe you. I'll just tell you that I don't think that you're being completely honest. I think it's easy to say, but I think it's not being truthful, because I've just seen it happen too many times. And this is what they do also, is they make sure that you have family, right? They make sure, because if you have family, you can't go do great things. Like I can't go just go search Antarctica if I wanted. I've got a family now. And I'm not going to leave my son and my wife alone while I go for 6 months and go. So who else do they do that to? Is all of our warriors. Think about who are the people that are the best trained athletes. They are people in the NFL, people in the NBA, people in the MLB, people in NHL. So these are these athletes, but guess what? As soon as you become an athlete, you become rich. As soon as you become rich, you get a wife. As soon as you have a wife, you have children, you have a huge home. Now you have blocked yourself from ever going anywhere, doing anything. You're just going to play sports, because why would you do anything that's going to jeopardize the money that's coming in? So think of all the positions that are highly paid, and look how they are all integral into this whole false system continuing. And, the world that we live in is just, you're not going to have the warriors of old. Think of the movie 300 and think, who's going to go do that? Nobody now. Who's going to go fight in wars like that? Nobody. It's because they've made it impossible for somebody to want to do that, because it's not, back in the day, you had all your best men were part of the military or were part of the fighting squad, not playing basketball or football for $35 million. For $35 million a year to play 16 games.
They've taken all the alpha males out of all of that stuff, politics, the military. Correct. And they have them playing children's games for a living. And they pay them very well. Don't get me wrong.
But there's a reason for that, right?
To do that.
Yeah, there's a reason for that for sure. And then you see things like atrazine, which, again, Alex Jones made fun of for years for saying they're turning the frogs gay. And everybody laughed and said, oh my goodness, what a joke. And oh yeah, the herbicide's really making the frogs gay, Alex. And then what do you find out? That the number one used pesticide in the United States, which is atrazine, which is in Roundup and all these other things. It is a chlorinated herbicide of the triazine class, used to prevent the pre-emergence of broadleaf weeds in crops such as corn, things like that. And you don't have to go very far in your search of Google until you find some of these. Let me see if we can find it here. Where this one, atrazine. Here we go. So just not very far down, you're going to see atrazine. Atrazine induces complete feminization and chemical castration of frogs. Okay, so you got here. The herbicide atrazine is one of the most commonly applied pesticides in the world. And by the way, this is banned in several countries, not the United States, though. As a result, atrazine is the most commonly detected pesticide contaminant of ground, surface, and drinking water. So now you're talking about, wake up, this is the number one most detected pesticide in ground, surface, and drinking water. It is also a potent endocrine disruptor that is active at low ecologically relevant concentrations. Previous studies show that atrazine adversely affects amphibian larval development. The present study demonstrates the reproductive consequences of atrazine exposure in adult amphibians. Atrazine-exposed males were both demasculinized, chemically castrated, and completely feminized as adults. 10% of the exposed genetic males developed into functional females. Well, that's weird. Are we in a world where there's people claiming that they are one sex, but they feel another, that they're turning into another, that they're dying to have a operation so that they can turn into another? Be weird to find out that the number one most detected pesticide is actually causing that. 10% of the I read that, into functional females that copulated with unexposed males and produced viable eggs. Atrazine-exposed males suffered from depressed testosterone, decreased breeding gland size, demasculinized, feminized laryngeal development, suppressed mating behavior, reduced spermatogenesis, and decreased fertility. These data are consistent with effects of atrazine observed in other vertebrate classes. So now it's not just frogs. It's also observed in other classes. The present findings exemplify the role that atrazine and other androcene disruptor pesticides likely play in global amphibian declines. So again, if that's true of amphibians, if you think that just humans have it doesn't affect us, I think you need to think about what you're saying.
I've been wondering why I don't hear the frogs nearly as much as I used to. Because in Indiana, I mean, you couldn't get away from them. If there was any type of water, anywhere around, you would hear those frogs just going nuts all the time at night. And, you know, what was it, 5-6 years ago, you kind of quit hearing the frogs, and it was just the crickets and things like that. It was weird. I never really thought of that until you started talking about this just now. But yeah, the frogs aren't like they used to be here in the U.S., at least in Indiana, for sure. I mean, we used to catch bullfrogs all the time. Now, you know, I've never seen a frog around here. We have a creek in the backyard. I thought for sure that there'd be frogs all over the place.
You think so?
But I've never seen a frog in that creek.
I mean, it's just insane to me that why wouldn't this be stuff? If there was actually a country we have these environmental protection agencies, people protection agencies, whether it's the FDA and who does, I guess it would be them. So, but again, this is not even questionable anymore. It's, you know, drinking water quality. This is the Massachusetts Environmental Public Health Tracking Site talking about, you know, the general public has limited exposure to atrazine. Well, what does it mean by that? Well, it's because it's all over your vegetables and fruit. They're not spraying it at your house. But however, atrazine can wash from crops where it is sprayed and contaminate streams, rivers, lakes. People living on or near farms may be exposed if their drinking water source is contaminated with runoff. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency classifies atrazine as a restricted use product. This means that only certified users can purchase and use the chemical. Oh, great. That makes it a lot better. For a list of registered users of atrazine in Massachusetts, click here. It's just crazy what's going on here. It's just we're laughing at that. So only these people can buy it. Oh, that makes it a lot better. The EPA. Yeah. So again, this is everywhere. You can think what you want about if it's true, but again, it's one of the most well-known. Here we go. Atrazine is one of the most well-studied pesticides because of its extensive use as a weed killer, yet it's still being used every day, all over the place. It looks like it's probably causing some cancers. Now, all triazines have been found to cause breast cancer in laboratory rats. Oh, boy. So, I mean, again, if people
it seems like the United States is almost the testing ground for all this. I know a lot of European Union and South America even. There's been a lot of countries that won't even buy this GMO stuff that we grow over here as food for their cattle and stuff like that. They quit taking it as payment.
So it just says here, the Environmental Protection Agency has announced that the androcene disruptive pesticide atrazine will be banned in Hawaii and in the U.S. territories of Puerto Rico, Guam, American Samoa, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and North Mariana Islands. Not the mainland, though. That makes a lot of sense. Let's just get rid of something causing cancer and causing men to become females, just from the state of Hawaii. Use of the cancer-linked pesticide, which is banned across much of the world, will also be prohibited along U.S. roadsides and conifers on public and private lands. The pesticide's largest manufacturer, Syngenta, agreed to the prohibitions in the wake of a legal agreement between the EPA and the Center for Biological Diversity. But anyway, I thought I just saw where it said that it was banned in all these countries already. Where did I read that? It just says here, oops. So the herbicide has been banned for use in the European Union since 2004. Oh, the thing that pissed me off the other day is finding out about Skittles and all the problem with Skittles. I mean, I was livid. Do you know how many fucking bags of Skittles I've eaten in my life? Do you know how many Skittles? Like every Halloween, I think I ate, 15 little bags of Skittles. And then to find out
that was your go-to.
Yeah, I just love Skittles. I mean, come on, who doesn't love Skittles? But then you find out that now they're being banned in all these other countries. And then they were on a list to be banned in the United States. There was, I think, 10 different ingredients that were going to be banned, including Skittles. And then Skittles lobby paid the governors to remove the one ingredient that is in Skittles, even though it was classified highly like the other ones. And so they just got rid of the 9, and then Skittles still exists. So you'll never catch me eating a Skittle in my life again. But I wanted to see, it does say, I don't know where I just saw it. Prosecutors seek to ban the herbicide. But anyway, it's in a lot of other countries. Oh, here, this one here. It has been banned or is being phased out in more than 35 countries, but it is second most commonly used herbicide in the United States. So again, we've been hoodwinked, we've been tricked, we've been fooled, we've been poisoned, we've been sprayed, we've been chemically castrated, we've been lied to about where we live, we've been lied to, and you've got people actively protecting these institutions. That's the worst thing about it. That's, I think, maybe the difference about now versus in the past is that they've done such a good job on people's minds and heads that they've convinced, I think, well over a majority of the people in this country that they're out for people's goods and that they care about them and that science is always right. And even though it's not, and they make up stories. And I was on Alex Stein's show this week, and I went on Halloween, but I dressed as a scientist but I called myself a magician just because I wanted to explain to people that they're basically magicians, right? I can see what's inside of an atom. Oh, but can you see an atom? Well, no, but I know what's inside of it. That's magical. That's not anything but that. Or people thinking they can look up in the sky and see back in time. These things, we really need to call people out for these things because we've thought for the longest time, like, well, they must be doing that, right? No, I've learned that what you got to do is call these people out, ask them to show you. Next time somebody says, oh, we do spectroscopy to figure out what these stars, show me what you do. And then they kind of disappear and run away. So, all right. Ira, did you have something you wanted to cover? I've got a couple other things I wanted to show, but I do have some things we have to do on the other side. What time is it? 2? Let's go over the other side now because I do have, it kind of is on this same subject. We're going to talk about Corona, going to talk about the Jibby Jews, and we're going to, not the Jews, but the Jibby Jabs. And I also had some other things I have to do on the other side. And we will.
There was a question in chat about the Southern Star rotation. I don't know if the person's still in. I dropped a video here, but I'll just drop it in the chat and they can check it out here on YouTube. I'll drop it for them. But yeah, I'm not saying this is how it works, but it's a possibility. It has to do with the sky acting like a lens and it possibly being a hemispherical shape and yada, yada, yada. But, there's some assumptions. But if that were, the way it was, then this is one way where you could always look south and see the rotation happening in that direction. I did this video, I think 6 years ago. But it has to do with just using those hemispherical lenses, and it will create another rotation on the outside edge of that sphere, that hemisphere. You'll have, just go check out that video. I dropped it in chat there for you.
Thank you.
But I saw a super chat question.
Yeah, I'm going to go through these right now.
I just wanted to make sure that I answered that one.
Sure. And then we'll get to tips in a little bit over on Rockfin, so if you want to tip there. But if you're super chatting, let's do that now because we're going to go through them. But we've got Flat Earth Eric, Daily Eric, Carey, USA. $5 says super chats. Please read them slowly. Thank you, Eric. We've got Kingdom Within. $20 says thank you, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. All glory to the Father. $20. Thank you very much. We've got Ines Guamez. Thank you very much for the 11 pounds. Says who has a good explanation for Sigma Octantis? So I guess that's one you just did. Visible at the same time from Perth and South Africa at the same azimuth of 180. Well, again, it's seen south, but you have to go into the declination because both places are going to have you probably looking in separate areas. It's not as simple as I'll just look south and you just look south. It's, I look south, but I've got a 13 declination, and you look south and you've got a negative 17 declination or whatever it is for those areas. And Sigma Octantis cannot be seen, number one, with your eye. So it's not a star that's ever been traveled by or used for celestial navigation. So just be careful on what you think that is, because they're going to sell you on one thing. Of course, they're going to sell you on the idea that they want you to believe. We've got Flat Earth Eric, Daily Carey, USA. and Airships South Beyond. So if you want to get involved in that group that's been talking about this, it's t.me/Airships South Beyond. They're thinking of changing the names, maybe messing around with Beyond Antarctica or Expedition Beyond Antarctica, something to kind of get people starting to stir. And then we've got Past Antarctica is the New Mars. Thank you, Flat Earth, Eric Daly, Derek Lee, Carey, whatever. So I believe that is it for the tips that I see. It says, let's celebrate their first super on a live stream. Who's this? Oh, Ines, thank you very much for being a new member. And if you guys want to become members, it really helps out those of us who do GLOBEBUSTERS. So please do that. Join on YouTube if you want, or you should join us over at Rockfin. Again, Rockfin's a way that you can contribute to where you're helping all of us. If you sign up for $15 a month there, it basically gets distributed to all the channels that you watch, including for the first 3 months, the channel that you sign up under gets all of it. And then it goes into a retention and acquisition kind of split. And so we'd be very kind of you to become members there. And there's so many channels, obviously at Rockfin, that are doing great work. So we're going to head over there. Thank you, YouTube, for being here. And we will the show is free during the show. So if you head over now, it'd be great if all of you did, because we do have some important COVID-like stuff to talk about, some vax stuff. And we can't do it here. And so Rockfin, again, that's another reason to support them. I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. I'm never going to say I'm Rockfin for life, because I know how these things go. Probably if it gets too big, somebody's going to come along and buy them out. That's how these corporations continue to, do their damage that they've been doing for a long time. And my life is kind of funny. I almost think it's like a movie starring me, because watching how my life went, it was incredible to see the difference between working as a store manager at Long's Drugs, where we were given full reign. We were told, you run the store like it's your own. So when I worked in Monterey, we had, golf section, we had local wines, local vendors, all this cool stuff. It was a destination. If people remember Long's Drugs, if you're from California, Arizona, Nevada, Hawaii, it was a 500 store chain that was amazing, made great money, treated their employees well, paid well. Once you became a store manager there, it was kind of my whole goal of working. It was become a store manager. When I did, it was very loved it. Great people working for me. I had no schedule. I could come and go as I wanted, could go golfing at 12 if I wanted. As long as the store ran great, the company didn't care. Then one day you show up and you hear there's an emergency conference call. You get on the conference call and you're told you now work for CBS. So the first thing they did was start eliminating all the sections that were specific to where you were. So if you were in Carmel, they just eliminated all you came into my store. You got to get rid of all these wines. You got to get rid of these golf sections. We don't have that with CBS. It's like, wow, you guys are really doing a number. And then they even did something stupid. Within a month or two, what shows up at the door but a front end cap of snow shovels and salt and scrapers. And I work at the Fremont Street. I was a store manager of the Fremont Street, Monterey, California. Okay. Where nobody in the world. So I didn't put it up. And my DM comes in and says, where's your snow display? I'm like, I'm not putting that up. We won't sell one piece. He says, oh, you have to. It's part of the core. Because again, these companies will pay CVS, like, here's all this money, and we want first shelf, prime location, and it's required of every store. And I knew right away that this is the way that the world's going. This is not catering. Remember the days of like the customer's always right? That is so far gone. They don't give a shit about you. There's so many examples of this I could give. Oh, my story, if you guys heard my story about Mazda, basically they banned me from the Mazda location for filling out a survey at home. Okay, so I had terrible service, didn't cause a scene or anything at the store. Came home, filled out a survey saying, give them a bunch of low scores because they basically, I got there and they're like, oh, we don't have the parts that they knew a week and a half ahead of time I was going to need. I get home, I fill out this survey. 3 minutes later, I get a call from the general manager who says, did you fill out a survey? Yeah. Oh, you gave us the worst score we've ever had. I'm like, oh, sorry, you guys did terrible. He said, all right, well, you're banned from forever. I'm like, for filling out a survey? Yep. Okie dokie. So this is the world that we live in now. We're just there. They don't care about you. They don't care about customers. The recent one I had to deal with was the Ticketmaster. What a joke that company is. I will never. Is it Ticketmaster or StubHub? No, StubHub. StubHub. What a joke that company is. And what they do is they get you in under their roof And then you start being a customer there, and then they just abandon all like customer service and everything because they really literally don't care. If your company is that big, like a StubHub or like a Ticketmaster, you just stop caring about customers. It doesn't matter anymore. And that's what corporations allow you to
try
do.
to talk to a human being with your cell phone provider.
Right. Yeah, it's
it
like
doesn't happen.
This crazy. I mean, it took me days to get a hold of somebody. I don't know if you guys were part of. There was some lawsuit where people got like $690 from, I think it was Ticketmaster for something that they did wrong in the past or something. So I have a $690 credit on my account. So we bought like 4 games for the Giants game this year, and we went to 3 of them, but we sold the final game that we were supposed to go to, or I wanted to sell them because we decided we're not going to go. So I put them up for sale. I get emails saying that they're sold, everything's good. And then like a week later, I see on my bank account that they charged me the price that I sold the tickets for. So I'm like, wait, what? That's a charge. What is going on here? So I can't get a hold of anybody, can't talk to a person. Finally I do. And they're like, oh, well, those tickets, they were not eligible to be resold. And so we charged you the value of us having to replace those people's tickets. I'm like, hold on, time out. First of all, I had a $690 credit in my account. Why did you rob my bank account? Let's pretend I owe you money. Why in the world would you think it's okay to go into my bank account and steal money from me when you owe me $690? Take that money, jackasses. Then the second thing was I told them is I kind of figured out the whole story, and it's basically like they should run their barcodes when you upload them and find out these things, which is not even true. My tickets were fine to be resold. I even had a letter from the Giants showing them they didn't care. But this is the thing. They don't care about me, right? Who am I? I'm just some guy who maybe buys a ticket or two a year and who wanted to sell these tickets one time. And think about it, for them, they could just, as soon as I upload the tickets, they could run them through some system and go, sorry, sir, these are not eligible to be resold. Take them back. But instead, they upload them. They let you list them for sale. They go up for sale. Somebody buys them. And then because you can't deliver them supposedly at that point, then they get to charge you the full amount of the price, and they get to supply the customer with tickets anyway. So think about it. It's a brilliant scam because you will never, you're basically have way more tickets on the site because you're selling tickets that cannot be sold. So again, why would they ever change that? What are they going to do? They're going to say, oh, well, because I even told the guy, why don't you run them when I first upload them? Oh, because there's too many of them. I'm like, dude, it's 2023. You're not going to tell me that we can't run ticket barcodes through a system to find out if they're eligible to be resold. You guys are scammers. You guys need to go. So I called him Nathan Oakley, and he didn't really get it. But then I said, I'm out of here. So anyway, it's just I'm finding these things one after another. They're companies that are, they don't care about you anymore. So
I bet he did get offended if he did go look it up.
I am not. You call me back all pissed off. Well, I mean, those guys are beyond scammers now. I mean, at this point, I just like, do you even cover things like that? What they actually did was when I was having my conversation with Nathan Oakley back and forth, he was talking about, this and we just science prove this. And a couple times I had to like basically put myself into his story and say like, okay, but did we prove, so did we prove the null? We proved the null, things like that. Right. So I'm kind of in a conversation with him. Well, he clips out all the parts of me saying, prove the null, this and that, and then puts them on his show. Basically me saying science doesn't prove things, followed by a clip of me saying we prove the null. I mean, it is the definition of scamming. So it's like if people can't see, and there's still a ton of people that are on his side. It's like, you people are insane. You're insane. It's a echo chamber of nonsense over there. That what they're teaching now it's not even true. It's not even correct. And yet they're just getting away with just teaching it and yelling at people and thinking that they're all right and that it's insanity what's going on in this community sometimes. But all you can do is remove yourself from it. I used to say, take the good, leave the bad. I don't get much good over there anymore. It's just the same story all the time. Like, you're going to need a flat earth for that. Great. That's not going to work in any debate ever. And then they go and review people's debates. This is what they do. They like take my debates off my show and go review it. It's like, you are flat earth debates. You should be the ones debating. And then they'll like give me a hard time. Like, Jeran doesn't know how to debate. Yeah, but I'm having to debate because you guys don't. Flat earth debates won't debate anybody. Wow, that's a nice one.
I really enjoy when Alan debates.
Alan's good. Alan's great.
He is so on point. I mean, if Witsit isn't available, I want Alan doing all the technical stuff.
I would agree with that.
That guy is so smart.
And
man.
that guy St. Pierre is good too. There's a lot of good guys over there. that are doing good work. So we're going to go over to Rockfin. We'll continue over there. It's been fun, guys. Thank you very much. Let me check one more time, make sure there's no super chats over here. We do appreciate the support. Fan funding. And we are good. All right, guys. We will see you on the other side. Till then, much love. You guys are going to be Thursday, right?
Yep. Thursday. I'm not sure what the topic is, but we will be there 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night again.
Awesome. Sorry about the screen, guys. I should be paying attention. I'm doing a bunch of things. But we will see you very soon. Rockfin, stay there. We'll be right there. Peace. All right. We are done at there.